Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Good evening and welcome to another episode of True Story Live. As usual, I'm one of the hosts here. I look at it as a collaborative effort. I'm Jason, for those of you that do not know. And I see there's several people in the chat, so we'll get to you guys in just a minute. Today is, it's the first Sunday in March, so we're just marching right along in the year. And as I keep noticing, so much time goes by so quickly. But here we are. And tonight's topic is Walls and Secrets, Your Hand in Mine. And this one was done by my very creative and intelligent wife, Jen. And we'll get a special treat for you tonight because of that. She did the write-up, and we'll get to that in just a minute as well. All right, so as usual, I'll introduce the rest of my illustrious panel, starting with Jen. Jen, how are you doing this evening?
I'd love it for one week you start with Glenn first.
Okay.
No, and it'll be like, wait, what? Wait a minute.
We'll go backwards.
No, I don't mind going first. I just thought that'd be funny. Hey guys, great to be here on this Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep. It's a good day.
Yeah, good day. Also with us, as usual, our producer and our friend from Australia, Glenn. Say hello to the peoples.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah.
Do it in that. That mock.
Jen, what would you want to?
I knew this was going to be interesting.
Good evening, everybody. Not too bad. How you going tonight? I'm going pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Sounds like my pawpaw. Oh,
you're kind of talented. You have a bunch of different voices. You also have that Monty Python kind of a man doing a female voice there that it cracks me up.
Yeah.
Hello. How are you, Crips?
Always makes me think of Glenn as a Muppet.
Yeah, it does kind of sound
Muppetish.
All right, so we will now say hello to everyone in the chat. Jen, do the honors if you would.
Sure. Okay, we have got Jalen in the house. Liam. Hey, Liam. Celine. Let's scroll. Chow Cat. And Stephanie and me.
Yeah.
I think that's it so far.
That's okay. As more people come in, we will try to say hello to everybody and just welcome you to the broadcast, and we'll go from there. So I hope everyone's doing well this Sunday, and we can just get started. So Jen, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Jen actually did this write-up. I tweaked a couple things, but predominantly it's her baby. So the special treat we have for you tonight is she's going to actually read the write-up. So I'm going to sit back and relax and listen to her wonderful voice as she does the write-up for tonight.
You guys are going to miss out. I'm going to perform it as I read it. But you won't be able to see. I'm just kidding. All right, I'm going to dive right in. Okay, we have all experienced walls in our lives as well as the secrets we hide behind them. Tonight's song inspiration is Your Hand in Mine by Explosion in the Sky. I can't help but hear determination and reflection throughout this song, with its building militarian snare coupled with soft, dreamlike guitar. Let's talk about walls. What are walls used for in life? Walls help the structure of a building to stand. They keep warmth or coolness in. They can be used to keep enemies out and can also be used to keep enemies inside, or sometimes good people. They can be used to divide. I think of the Berlin Wall in Germany all those years ago, which was officially used to separate the Western fascists from the socialist state. What do you think of when you think of internal walls of the heart? Are they for our protection? Protection against hurt by others, by ridicule of others, or to keep us safe from rejection. I think of betrayal and someone putting up a wall to not get hurt again. This is a big one. Are we using walls to deny who we truly are? Outside of these walls, are we displaying our acceptable selves that we want the outside world to see, or who others want us to be? Walls are not built alone, it is a collaborative effort. Yes, we lay many of the bricks ourselves, but not alone. Society, parents, friends, family, teachers, and even the government all play a part in the building of walls. Brick by brick, year after year, the wall is built to varying heights and thicknesses depending on what the needs might be, until the wall is high and impenetrable. For me, my wall is holding in years of anger and hurt. I grew up with an angry father, and anger to me was scary and even ugly. Growing up as a believer, I felt that being angry wasn't quote unquote Christian. So I decided to only be nice, kind, and happy. What I didn't realize was the anger was still there, seething behind these walls I had put up. This anger and rage are my secrets. And what about secrets? What are the secrets we hold on to? Why do we keep secrets? Does having secrets work? Do they protect you from harm, or are you protecting someone else from harm by having one? There is also the secret of I'm not good enough. I know this is one I've struggled with the most in my life. I'm sure many of us have. Are all secrets bad? Are all walls bad? And can walls come down if secrets are not disclosed? That's a good one. Thanks, Glenn. In regards to relationships, secrets are connection killers. They sit and begin to fester, eroding at the very fabric of the connection between two people. The longer we wait to tell them, the harder it is to share it. Let's not forget keeping secrets is exhausting. In our minds and hearts, if walls are meant to protect us, why in the world would we want to take them down? Does your wall have a door, letting in people you trust, or is there no door at all? What are some benefits of removing walls in regard to yourself? There are a lot of questions. These are a lot of questions. But walls and secrets are a deep and multifaceted topic of discussion. I think for me, the biggest reason to keep a secret is the risk of rejection. Rejection can look like the loss of love, a person not agreeing with your feelings, upset feelings when the secret is exposed. The list goes on. I believe our truth lies behind these secrets and behind these walls. And if we are wanting to be accepted, don't we want to be accepted with all our cards on the table? What have we got to lose? We either lose the person we tell the secret to, or keep it hidden and lose a part of your own truth behind another wall.
All right. Well, thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
See, I said that it was an excellent write-up, and I think that you did a great job reading it. So
Oh,
you're
thank you.
getting more and more practice. So pretty soon you should be hosting the show.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll just have you host.
You'll be my co-host.
That's right. I'll take a break and sit in the back, and I'll be like Glenn and just have these like really
Squeaky chair.
delayed short answers.
In your Monty Python voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. I'm just going to check and see if anyone else popped in. I don't see anybody. New. Okay. All right. So we'll dive in. So as Jen read, we're going to be talking about walls and secrets tonight. And I did listen to the song, and we put the link in the description. I definitely suggest everyone go and take a listen to that. I think it's a fitting song for tonight's broadcast. When we're picking the songs, I know Glenn does this, and when it's my turn, I always try to pick a song, and sometimes Jen and I work together, and I just love music, and I think it's so expressive to use a song that somehow evokes feelings from the topic that we're discussing.
Yeah.
And this one certainly does. This topic is just so interesting to me. I was talking when we were looking at the songs. I think I've mentioned I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, and I know quite a bit about the story of the fictional character Pink Floyd, and they did a movie in the late '70s called The Wall, and it was a story essentially about walls that are built up around us, as Jen read, to protect us from the outside, but it also isolates the person inside, and we'll get around to that. While we're doing this, we definitely want you to make comments in the chat, and we'll keep checking. This is a collaborative effort, this broadcast. I like to look at it like that. And so, as usual, if you have a comment that you want me to read, as much as you can, direct it to me or to True Story Live, or put it in caps so I can see it. Stephanie puts a lot of things in caps, so I can always see when she puts something in. So that's good. That's not a bad thing at
Yeah.
all. All right. So let's get to the first question. So scrolling through just a second. Okay. So the first question I see.
And I think Glenn's going to put up the image.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think there's a delay too, so I didn't want to wait too long.
You want me to read the first one, or do you have it?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. What do you think of when you think of internal walls of the heart? It's the first one.
Okay. What do you think of when you think of internal walls for the heart? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Okay, there it is. It's hard for me to see the slide, so I'm trying to find it in the write-up.
Okay.
What do you think of internal walls of the heart? When Jen and I met, I like to use imagery a lot, and I think I mentioned on a recent show about me not dating, and after my divorce, kind of giving up on love, and I use the heart a lot in talking about rooms of the heart, and I described a basement where there was an ember of whatever thoughts I had about a possible relationship being a small burning ember in the basement, and that basement was in my heart. So it's not difficult for me to think about it in terms of it being rooms, and walls and things like that. So
Yeah.
that imagery really, really works for me. So what I think of is I think of that building that I have described in my heart, where I keep different things. One place may be where my love is, and other places might be where I consider my intellect, and even other rooms would have fear and more negative emotions, and those rooms usually have locks on them, and try to keep them separated from the more positive feelings. So that's what it makes me think of. Internal walls of the heart, where we keep our emotions, and both, for me, both positive and negative. Of course, in those terms, I always try to let the more positive emotions out freely. No locks, no doors on those rooms, so it's easier to access those things. As I've gotten older and more mature, of course, there may still be locks on things like anger, but there's no rooms in my heart that I can't get to. But that's taken me a long time to get there, to be able to express feelings and emotions openly, and not be afraid to share them. So that's my part. What do you think, Jen? When you
Well,
think,
I like how you mentioned that all your rooms you can get to, because I didn't even think about this when I was writing this, regarding walls that we might put up that we don't even know are there when it comes to our hearts.
right?
Um, it's so funny because when you're talking about rooms, and I love the description you give, and that I start thinking about the differences between men and women, and how men tend to compartmentalize, and
Yeah,
women, it's like a big plate of spaghetti. It is a little more difficult for me to untangle in my heart. It's like everything is intertwined, you
sure.
know.
Sure. All the
Um,
pieces of, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
all the pieces of the spaghetti are touching,
yeah,
but there's so many different lines. If you look at them as at the noodles as feelings and thoughts and emotions, they're all touching,
yeah,
which is great, but they're it's kind of a big pile of
yeah.
stretching noodles out in different directions.
So like taking down walls would be like trying to pull out a noodle or a couple noodles from a big knot of noodles.
Right. Right.
Uh, it's kind of funny.
That's good.
Um, but yeah, I definitely think of I still can picture, internal walls of different emotions, and even different emotions for different people or different experiences that you've gone through, different traumas, um, different wonderful things that have happened in your life.
Hmm.
So when I think of internal walls of the heart, I think of that. What about Glenn?
What about you, Glenn?
Ah,
Every
my
time I ask.
micro. Yeah, my microphone actually worked,
There you go.
Woohoo!
which is a surprise. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, well, what you guys said makes sense. I just wonder from one of your comments, do you think men and women can relate to walls differently? Do you think that our interpretation of walls is different? That's number one. And
Yeah.
then Jalen said, could walls be made of cement, straw, plastic, fabric? Question. Good
Oh,
question, in my opinion. But I think so. I think it's more than possible that they can have different levels of access and different ability to break down. Some
yeah.
are hard and fast, and some are pretty flexible, for sure.
Mhm.
Excellent point, I think.
That's a great
So men and women,
perspective.
what do you think?
I do think it is a little different, but maybe it depends on personality too, because I have met women that do seem to compartmentalize, like type A women.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's when you think about walls, like emotional walls of the heart, I think it's probably more common for people to think about rooms, you know.
Mhm.
I didn't think of the spaghetti thing until Jason was talking, and I was thinking about that whole difference between men and women with compartmentalizing and everything being kind of blended together. But I would say definitely with this one, as I was doing the write up, I was picturing it more as walls, different rooms for things, and in that sense, I was looking at it as experiences. And if they were good or bad or
Mhm.
traumatic, or so they're separate in that way, separated, from experience to experience.
Mhm.
But I know we're talking about walls too when it comes to, well, like protecting ourselves. Um, so, and feelings, encapsulating feelings. So it's a little bit
Sure.
different between experiences and feelings.
Sure. From my perspective, I do think there's a difference, but I agree with what Jen said. There are people on both sides, men that have more of the pasta thing going on, and women who have more of the waffle compartmentalizing. Um, in those terms, when you're talking about men compartmentalizing, the idea is the syrup. If you put the syrup on, that is the connection, so that all the little compartments are able to be one, and be able to touch,
Yeah.
and you can connect all those different things. But I think there's a lot of men out there that don't have any syrup. It's just all compartments, and there's nothing connecting the compartments. Um, I don't know if that's true or not, but Jaylen's question I wanted to answer because from my perspective, I think Glenn kind of answered it. It is a good question. And in terms of my thoughts, yes, they all can be made out of different things. And as Glenn said, some might be more flexible. In terms, like I mentioned, the Pink Floyd, The Wall, and in those terms, they actually showed it. And these were those big, thick concrete bricks, not the small bricks, but the the larger gray bricks that you see used for foundations. Of course, it was painted white in the movie and on the album, in an artistic manner. But yeah, when they toured, they built a mock wall and they stood on top of the wall and played their music. And then at the end of the show, they would blow the wall up and break all the bricks, because that's what happened in the stories. At the end, he couldn't do it anymore, and it represented his death and rebirth into something else. But anyway, to answer the question, yes, I believe, and metaphorically, whatever the walls are that we have inside can absolutely be made of different material. And I just think it depends on the person themselves, and it depends on the necessity of the walls. I'm
Yes.
sure there are people out there that kind of led an easier life than others. They may not have needed to use the thicker, even steel walls,
Yeah.
or iron or something hard. Other people may not need that. They might, as Jen says, and we'll get to this in the write up. Is there a door? I thought that was an interesting question. Is there even a door in your wall? If you have walls, is there a way for people to get in and out? For some people, I don't think there is a door. I don't even think there's a door for them to get out. I mean, I have met people
Wow.
that are so isolated, it doesn't seem like they have access to anyone. And it's sad. It's sad. Some people may do that to themselves. Other people, it may more be, well, that's not a sentence. It may be more like society, for instance, like people that are in institutions that are institutionalized and not taken care of, and then they run out of money, so they put them out on the streets. I mean, the amount of homeless people, what kind of walls do they have going on? I mean, in one sense, they're out of doors, living on the street. And so one might say, oh, well, they have, in some ways, they have a lot of freedom. But we're talking about emotional and spiritual things. How walled up are these folks? I don't know. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the greater the hurt and the pain, the greater the wall.
I agree. Yeah, it's the necessity of what one experiences as to how high the walls are, what they're made out of, and things like that. I've mentioned before that, in reference to my mother, um, the necessity of her walls. I mean, she'd been hurt a lot, so I believe that some of her walls, she would call them boundaries. I call them walls, but I would say that she had barbed wire and those huge metal spikes that if you fell from a higher story onto them, it would pierce you straight through. Um, and I said that because a lot of her boundaries, they weren't just to protect her. They were, in my opinion, they were to hurt people that were trying to hurt her. And I understand that. I get that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to protect yourself in that way, and she certainly did in many ways. So, yeah, great question, Jaylen. I appreciate
Yeah.
you adding to that.
It's insightful.
And then Stephanie says it's hard to take those walls down when you live in fear of getting hurt again. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about, Stephanie. And we'll get more into that in just a few minutes. What do you think about Jaylen's question before we move on to the next one, Jen?
I think it was beautiful and insightful, and when I had popped in for a second there and shared that the greater the hurt or the pain, the greater
Yeah,
the wall,
yeah.
meaning the higher the wall, the thicker the wall, the harder the what it's made out of,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm.
Um, I guess in my mind, I imagine maybe somebody that's healthy has, a boundary, even with their feelings, they have these walls that are breathable and maybe you can even see through them somewhat.
Sure.
Um, and they're not super high, but they're also guarded.
Yeah.
So I'm not there yet. So anyway, I
You're not
appreciate
there yet.
I appreciate her comment. That's very, very insightful. I love the imagery too.
Yeah,
I
me too.
pictured it as I was reading it.
That was
Beautiful,
very nice.
Jalen. You may go to the next one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I like this. If you want to ask the questions, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's different, right?
Yep, I like it.
So the next one's it's kind of a couple of things in a particular question, but instead of going one by one, this one might be good to have together.
Mhm.
Are the walls for our protection, protection against hurt by others, by ridicule of others, or to keep us safe from rejection?
Good question. I think I think it can be all those things. It can
Yeah,
be for us, for our own protection. It can be because of rejection. It could be because of being abandoned, and it's safer just to put walls up rather than let people in.
yeah,
Rejection is a big one. I mean,
yes,
it's not just me that has felt this. Well, speaking personally, being transparent, I've had some rejection in my life, but generally, I was more afraid of the actual feeling of rejection. So I avoided relationships for a very, very long time in my life.
yeah,
Uh, it's because of the little bits of rejection that I experienced, like in families, different than love relationships, but just being rejected by family, like not having enough time spent with me or wanting to do things and not being able to do that and kind of being ignored. So for me, abandonment and rejection, which are fairly similar, I suppose.
yeah,
I mean, they're in the same grouping, I think. Those things were I avoided them. I avoided relationships for that reason for a very, very long time. And it seemed like, too, that whenever I would make an attempt at a relationship, I got rejected. And you could say, well, it's a self fulfilling prophecy. It's because you expected it. That's why it happened. And that may be true. There may be some truth to that.
yeah,
But either way, it was something I had fear of, and I actually experienced it. And then when I finally, like referring to my divorce, and that was both abandonment and rejection at the same time. And it was devastating, but I got through it. And then so the next time it happens, it won't have exactly the same effect. I think you get kind of tough to it. But fortunately for me, when Jen came along, I'm glad that I didn't have impenetrable walls up. Um,
yeah,
there were definitely some walls. Glenn has said in reference to me and my relationship with Jen, said that Jen has helped to smooth off my rough edges, and I couldn't agree more with that. I'm pretty self-aware, so in terms of my walls, whatever walls I had, I've told Jen before that she has the keys to all my rooms, and I didn't even give them to her. It seems like
like I
sometimes,
had copies of them.
right? Yeah, it seems sometimes that you meet a person that just seems to be able to get past all your defenses, and they're not even trying. It's just like that's what it feels like for me, at least with Jen. So in terms of this particular question, are they for protection? Yes, very much so for protection, and the protection is against hurt, ridicule, and many other things to keep us safe from rejection. I can definitely relate to that one there
Yeah.
for sure.
What about you, Jen?
Yeah. I thought you were taking the lead there. So I was
I was. That's how I was taking the lead.
like,
I'm hosting myself.
yeah, do it, do it.
Protection against hurt or protection for protection. Yes, definitely for protection. Protection from hurt by others. Yes. Ridicule of others. Yes. And rejection. Gosh, even hearing that word rejection,
Rejection,
it it stirs something and not in a good way.
yeah, right.
Something in my
It's not a good
chest.
stirring. Yeah,
No. It's not quite my stomach.
right.
It's more my heart,
Yeah,
and chest, yeah, area. But that, oh, even the word just describes the feeling so well. It's just such
I
an awful
agree. I never
feeling.
thought of
Yeah.
it like that, but you're right. Rejection.
Yeah.
Rejection. Yeah. Just, yeah.
Yeah. Whoever connected those two, that feeling and the word, they did a
Yeah.
good job. Gosh, safe from rejection. I don't even know what to say.
It just sounds bad.
Yeah. I feel like that word, it encompasses so many things and so many different facets of rejection. Um, Dang. And I don't know what I could say to add on to what you said. You just said it so beautifully.
Okay.
Let's go to Glenn.
Yeah. All right, Glenn.
Is he still there?
We'll
it
give.
just takes so much
there it is.
energy to keep. Oh, sorry, I was there's a 3-4 second delay on that one. Wow.
Yeah, I got to keep remembering that.
Yeah, I have to get my train of thought back. Okay. It takes a lot of energy to keep replenishing your walls. So maybe it's okay not to have a wall, and it's okay to get rejected. Okay, you get rejected. What do you do about it? It's life. Move on. I don't see rejection as necessarily a bad thing. I'd rather someone tell the truth and say, I reject you, than someone drag you through the mud under a false pretext.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of ways of looking at it. But in general, I agree with what you guys said. Yeah, they are there for protection.
Yeah. That's a really good
Whether
point,
you want
Glenn.
to be protected is the question. Yeah,
that's a good question.
Personal experience, Jen.
Say that again?
You'd know from personal experience, sometimes being rejected is a lot more relieving than having to dwell on the thought, oh, am I being rejected? Because once you've got someone in black and white says something to you, then you can respond appropriately. But you can't respond to any person who doesn't tell you the truth.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Spot on.
The other thing I would say, the idea of rejection for me at least, and me staying away from relationships because of my fear of it ever happening, again, because little bits of it happened, but in a love relationship, that seemed more scary to me than anything. The actual feeling of it when it came, my question to myself, and this is something I have to think about, was that period of time when I avoided relationships and I prevented myself from probably growing and learning faster and maybe having some enjoyable experiences, was that better or worse than the feeling of rejection itself? I'm not saying I have an answer to it. I'll have to consider it more, but that's the question that came up for me. Which is better, to feel that, like Glenn's suggesting? He's saying that it may not necessarily be a bad thing, and I'm going to have to think more about that. For me, it felt bad, but is the feeling of rejection that I went through worse than the decades that I avoided relationships simply because of the fear of experiencing that? I don't know.
Oh, that's deep.
Thank
That's
you.
good. I like all these points.
Yeah, these are good.
Next question.
Okay.
Are we using walls to deny who we truly are? Dang. I know I did. Using walls to keep in my true self because I didn't think my true self would be accepted. My true emotions. And so for me, it was kind of presenting this what I thought was this acceptable person to family, to friends, to the outside world, outside of myself. But oh my gosh, it's so painful and it's so destructive and it's so exhausting. When you're around people where you can just be, you don't have to put the walls up, you don't have to censor yourself. There is such freedom in that. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Hey, Glenn, I can hear you typing loud, buddy. I always picture, I sent him a meme of Kermit the Frog slamming on a typewriter. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, I remember you posted that in the chat last time.
What do you think,
Uh,
Jason? Using walls
uh,
to deny who we truly are?
yes, I think that we can do that. Walls to deny who we truly are, and again, the person that we are protected behind the walls. There may be a false self that we are allowing to get out from behind the walls, but it's not really us. So, in other words, it's like you have an emissary. You have someone that's like an avatar of you, and it's not really you. So you're presenting that to the world because your avatar can't get hurt if it's not really you. If it's something you've constructed, then you're safe behind the walls. The real
Yeah.
you is. And then deeper than that, there may be even different levels. Like the real you might be in the center of this walled in structure. And then in order to get to you, to the core of you, a person would have to go through many locked rooms to even get to you. So yes, I do believe that we can use them in that way.
Yeah.
Are we using walls to deny who we truly are? Yes, I think in many cases we are. I
Yeah.
think the real me was behind a lot of walls. There were, like I said, there are other parts that are open to people,
Yeah.
like friendships, for instance. I've always been pretty friendly and pretty open to friendships, but I've been hurt and rejected even in friendships too. So each time that happens, I'm more leery toward friendship than I used to be.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like they have to pass certain tests, or they have to, or I'll let you have a key for a little while, but if you hurt me, I'm gonna have to take it back. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that.
Yeah. That's a good way
It's
of describing it.
Yeah, thank you. It's not like free access. Like Jen has full access to every part of me, and I don't think that's for everybody. And Glenn may disagree with that. He may think, and I'm not speaking for him. I'll just say from my perspective, he may say, well, you should allow all access of yourself to everyone. And just, then when they hurt you, then of course, then you would close them off. I find that harder to do because of the amount of times I've been hurt. However, my avatar for this very channel is the open sign, and I had a different one last time around that Jen made this one for me, and I like it a lot. It's way more colorful than the last one, but it has the same message. I am attempting to be an open person, and attempting to be open not just to the people that I trust, but to everyone. So I'm not saying I always do it perfectly, but
Yeah.
that's an attempt to be who I truly am outside of the walls, instead of using them to deny who I truly am.
Well said.
Thank you.
What about you, Glenn?
I'd like Cripps just to say what he said before, and I'll answer that as a question.
I can't access what I said. I can't think of what I said.
Oh, is it about you?
It was something like, would you not have walls with people in it? We're
Yes.
so delayed here. Sorry, like 5 seconds plus.
I gotcha. I got it now. So in form of a question, I would say, are you a person that would rather than allowing some people access to all of you, would you do that? Would you allow full access to everyone? And then if they hurt you, then you would close them off, or would you only allow full access to certain people, like I was saying I do?
I don't think I agree with what you thought I would agree with. I would say, based on an intuitive feel and how the energy projects to me, will determine just how much I will let out.
Right.
If I feel totally comfortable, when they've got wonderful energy, it's all open book. But some people, you just know when you get in their presence that they have negativity. No way, not going to happen.
Right. Right. I got you.
So no, I treat not everyone, not all walls are going to. Sorry, I'm not going to give away things to people I don't inherently feel on the same page as I am.
Gotcha. So the other part is, do you feel like the question is, are we using walls to deny who we truly are?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing, I can relate to this one totally, that the crazy thing for me was I thought that by having a wall to who I was would make me more likable to other people. But in fact, it turned out to be the reverse. Once I
Same
dropped the
here.
walls and said, I don't care anymore, then everyone, things just went ballistic, like amazing. I thought, oh, I've wasted 25 years. Like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. Just bullshit. Yeah. So
I completely agree
I
with
agree.
that.
We hide ourselves behind walls and yeah, it's crazy daisy. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
The next question is kind of sort of repetitive. With what we just answered, outside of these walls, are we displaying our acceptable selves that we want the outside world to see, or who others want us to be? I know for me, I was always trying to decipher what it was people wanted me to be. And like in childhood, it was my parents. Who do my parents want me to be? And
Right.
so when I would do things that made my dad angry, I felt I needed to censor those parts somehow. And it was just me being me.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of push those things back behind the wall.
Hmm.
And even anger. I felt like emotion wasn't very acceptable to show in my family of origin. And so that's another thing I shoved behind the wall, and an attempt to censor myself, to make myself acceptable, to make myself more lovable. Um, and it mainly was what was acceptable, for what I thought was acceptable to other people, and what I felt like others wanted me to be.
Yeah.
But it is exhausting, and I'm only just now coming out from behind that crap, and just letting. It's crazy to me, letting all of this stuff from. I picture the wall kind of like creaking, and the mortar is like crumbling because there's like all this stuff behind the wall that's just like it's over full and it's about to bust. And I'm
Yeah.
letting it out, which is great, and it's healing and freeing. Um, and I just feel so much rest with letting that stuff out. It's wonderful.
Mhm.
So anyway, your turn.
That's good. I think I already answered this one, but I want to add to that and say you're talking about feeling free. When you're able to experience life without having walls, you're able to come and go as you please, and not have that false self, but it's you.
Mhm.
That feeling is pretty awesome. There's not too
Yeah.
many feelings that are as exhilarating as that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think
And
that
yeah, I love how you mentioned the false self, because I could have added that in the write up. But when we have walls, is it is it making us have a false self, or does it make us have a false self? It's a better sentence.
I think it can. I think it can be a false self. It's like the example I gave earlier about having a representative, a false representative. I think of it as a false self android that looks like you, that talks like you, but it's not really you. It's a representation. It's a shadow of who you are, maybe, and that is built by expectations of others in terms of the question. It's other people putting expectations on you. So you think I can't be who they want me to be. So, but my avatar can. This false self can do that. So you build that false self based on other people's expectations,
Yep.
and you describe that pretty well, Jen. So
Yeah.
that's the way I think of it. You create a personality that's not really yours. It's based on other people's expectations, while the real you is behind the walls,
Yeah.
uh, isolated, seemingly safe, but it's really isolation.
Yeah. I just pictured that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of like a wall.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what you call the sides of a well. They're the walls of the well, for
Yeah.
sure. And
Hmm.
that's a couple things. That's bricks generally around you, and you're deep down in it. There's only light coming from the top of the thing to begin with. It's dark and cold, probably. Um, yeah, that's a difficult place to be. Of course, you're protected from the elements, the outside world. You're protected from the outside, but you're isolated. You're certainly isolated,
Yeah.
which can be difficult.
What about you, Glenn? Did he answer this one?
I believe so.
I
Yeah.
did on that a bit.
Okay. All right, next one. And what about secrets? I'm going to read a few down and not just stop there.
Okay.
What are the secrets we hold on to? Uh, why do we keep secrets? And does having secrets work? I'll stop there to not do too many.
Okay. I'm trying to find it. Just one second. Oh, what about secrets? What are the secrets we hold on to? Why do we keep secrets? I think it's different from everyone else. I mean, each person has their own secrets for their own reasons, but in every case, I think we keep secrets the same way for the same reason that we put up walls to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
We think it's to protect ourselves. Of course, I've learned that secrets are not a protection. Uh, they may seem like protection,
Yeah.
but especially in relationships, and we'll get to that. But I'll just say briefly that anytime you're keeping a secret and not being open and honest, it's like a landmine. To me, a secret is a landmine.
Yeah.
It may not go off for a while. It may be inert. There may be no explosion. It may not cause any damage. But if you have a secret at all, it's like having a landmine that could be exploded any time, and
Yeah.
you don't always know what's going to explode it or when it's going to explode, and
Yeah.
that's a hard place to live in. So the secrets in those terms, the secrets aren't helpful to us, but I do believe we use them for protection. I do.
Yeah. Do they work?
Do they work? They work in some ways. I believe they work to keep that part safe. But as I said, it's a landmine. So if the landmine never goes off, it works. It works to keep whatever we're using it whatever secret we're using as protection. It works.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, in my opinion, it doesn't work because it's not. It's a lie
Yeah.
that it's keeping us safe. It only feels like it's keeping us safe.
You know what this makes me think of? It makes me think of, you hear stories sometimes of people on their deathbed, and right before they die, they unload this
Yeah.
secret that is just so weighty, and they
Yeah.
just need to tell somebody.
Hmm.
Um, that's usually not a celebratory moment.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think about what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and maybe even the relief
Hmm.
that they're feeling when that
Yeah.
secret's out. Um, and then to be facing death and thinking, oh my gosh, I can imagine the relief they feel, and maybe even thinking I should have told somebody
Sooner.
a lot sooner,
Yeah.
you know. And living in a place like, for example, with you, where we have no secrets, we put everything on the table up front when
Hmm.
we were going to be dating. Um, there's such a freedom in our relationship
Yeah,
um, that I've never experienced before. And it's just so incredibly freeing. And so I think it allows you to accept each other on a deeper level
sure.
because it's all out there.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I yeah, I want to say something about that. I
Yeah, go ahead.
completely agree with that. Our relationship is open. In fact, it being open and honest and not having secrets, it actually has shown me. It's the mechanism that has shown me that secrets aren't helpful. Also, if you have a secret and you're in a relationship with someone and you really do love them, that secret, more than just a landmine, becomes a poison. It eats away at you. The fear of the secret being discovered, or is this person going to reject me if they knew this secret that I'm keeping? So, and this isn't bragging; it's just the way that it happened. But with you, and we've talked about this before, I I prevented there being any secrets on my end. I wanted you to know things that I considered as reasons to not enter into a relationship as possibilities.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you just like think, well, why would you be worried about that? And that may be the case. But to me, disclosing all those things that could possibly be landmines later for me and come up later, that was a freeing thing. And then to
Yeah.
have you accept it once you knew all the things, quote unquote, secrets that I could have kept, once you know the truth about everything, then you're making an informed decision. And then I don't have to worry about anything. And there is such a freedom in that. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about any landmines. I don't have to worry about any poisons or what if you find out about this or that. It's all just open.
Yep. So much better.
Yeah, I prefer that.
How about you, Glenzo? Do secrets
Yeah, I'm
work?
on your page. No, well, I'll bring one up after the next question. Generally, no, but sometimes when people make a value judgment about a secret, it can be a very confronting question to them. Do I speak or do I not? So I don't. I think in general, yes, but there's always some very difficult circumstances that come by either keeping or letting stuff out. And like I said, next question, here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next question. Do they protect you from harm, keeping secrets, or are you protecting someone else from harm by having one? We'll do that one before I do that last kicker.
Could be both. It really could be both.
Yeah.
Do they protect you from harm or from protecting someone else from harm? Yeah, going back to our relationship. So if I had kept secrets, part of them would be to protect me from harm, being exposed, being embarrassed, being whatever, rejected, abandoned. Those could be reasons why I would have kept secrets. Or I could have been protecting you from finding out some part of me that could be potentially damaging or but I think mostly it's to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
I think some secrets do protect someone else. For instance, let's say that you have a child that was adopted, and you decide not to tell them, and then you've dragged it on so long, and now they're an adult, and you know that their parents were horrible people, and they want to meet their well, they don't know they're adopted, but let's say that you don't want them to ever meet the parents because you think it's going to be damaging. Now, first of all, I think that's wrong. A child should have, even if their parents are crap, they should know who, if they want to, they should know who their birth parents are. So you're keeping the secret to protect them because you care about them. That's an example of where a secret would potentially harm someone else. But generally, I do think it's to protect ourselves from
That
harm.
was good.
Thank you. Every once in a while.
Yeah. More than that. I can't think of another example like you where keeping a secret could keep someone from harm. I know I haven't had any experience with that per se. It's been more of keeping myself protected.
Right.
What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, to everybody. What if your mum came and said to you, sat you down and said, we need to have a talk? And she says, well, I need to tell you that your father might not be your father. It could be any one of three men.
Wow.
And I think I know who the father is, and it's not your dad. What do you say to that? Is that a secret that should be kept, or should be put out in the open?
It's a great question.
Dang.
For me personally, I would
I've seen
want
this
to
one
know.
play out. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I would want to know because I just want things to be open and upfront, even if it was painful. I think that I would understand why my mom would want to keep that secret. I get it, and I would appreciate her trying to protect me, but I would want to know who my birth father was if I was in that situation. Just me personally. But everyone's different. If someone didn't want to know and they would prefer to have that secret not revealed, then that's up to them for sure.
You waiting on me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, I like this. You're steering the ship.
In the driver's seat. Okay, this next one's a doozy. There's also the secret of I'm not good enough. Squeaky chair, squeaky chair.
No, I have
Did y'all
to get
hear
up.
that?
The rain's coming. The rain is coming in the door.
So I'll say that one more time just in case the cheap seats didn't hear it. That's the squeaky chair. There's also the secret of I'm not good enough. Man, oh man. Whew. This one cuts so deep with me. I do wonder if there are more people that deal with this particular secret. Um, I'm not sure exactly where the root of this is, but I can. It goes back to way, way far back childhood.
Sure.
I'm having an echo. Did you guys hear that?
No, I do not.
Okay, that's weird. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm gonna ignore it. I'm not good enough. Yeah, I think when you think about society and perfectionism and social media and putting up this front, all these pictures and posts, and I think it's another way that we try to say to the world that I am good enough,
Yeah.
because we're afraid that people are going to find out that we're not. I'm
Yeah.
not good enough.
Yeah.
But I even think this thought is off. I think it's not misleading. That's not the right word, but I think we are good enough in a way. When it comes to us being ourselves, we just don't accept ourselves.
True.
So in the not accepting, we're thinking that we're not good enough, and more times than not, um it's what is the word? It's it's like messages we're getting from other dysfunctional people or family, or they're giving us these messages that we're not good enough.
Sure.
Perfect example is feeling like you have to earn love, that the love from your parents or siblings isn't unconditional, and you have to be a certain way to garner love from them.
Yeah.
That's one way you can get a message of that you're not good enough. You're not being accepted as you are,
Right.
all of who you are, just as you are, and so that's very damaging. What do you think?
Yeah. I especially the last part. I agree that is certainly damaging. I'm not good enough. Yeah, that's something I've struggled with, and I agree with what you said. Uh, I think other people cause that for us. Like again, expectations come to play here. People expecting us to do things or be something that we feel like we can't be. Like you never measure up, and I think a lot of times it's parents, but it also could be teachers in school. You could, for me, it was math. I didn't feel good enough in math. Now later on in life, I found that I really struggled with it in school, but when I went to college, I was more mature and I proved to myself in other areas that I could do it, and I buckled down and did it. It was harder for me than, say, psychology or sociology or English or history and things like that. The language arts are easier for me than math. But there are other people that, that don't struggle with math at all. It's like a second nature to them. But for me, I didn't feel good enough. And I carried that around for a long time. I would even avoid anything that had to do with using a lot of math in it, other than figuring out how much my paycheck's going to be and how much taxes the government's going to take out of it.
Or how much to tip somebody.
How much to tip someone? Yes, I can do that math as well. Yeah, so I've often felt that, and you carry it around for a long time until you really take a look at yourself and realize that you are good enough. You're valuable, despite what other people have told you. I like you were saying. You get the messages. I was thinking subliminal message. Sometimes it's not a direct message. Sometimes you're picking up these things without them being said from other people. And those can shape you just as much as you shaping yourself. And you get those messages, I'm not good enough. And that can be awfully hard to break. But if that's what anyone is experiencing, if you're having these feelings of I'm not good enough, my advice would be to work on that in yourself, because everyone is worth something, in my opinion. And yes, even someone like Hitler, I mean, he made some poor choices, but could his life had been different had he had a different childhood or different experiences in life? I think yes. I think that we can be good enough if we work at it, and if we struggle with something, maybe there are just some things that we can't do, and that's okay. It's okay that there are things out there that I can't do, but it doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It shouldn't detract from who I am that there are things that I'm just not capable. I'm not made to do.
Awesome. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Len?
Yeah. But if you see yourself as you're not good, maybe others will see you as not good enough. But as a counter to that, we've got two wonderful next door neighbours. I'm a guy and his wife and partner, and we've had a few chats about this sort of stuff. And he said, I thought I was never good enough, but she is the one who showed me that I was good enough. So sometimes it's just not as easy. Sometimes someone just comes along and sees through you and sees that you are much more valuable and worthy than you think you are yourself, and it can have a very happy outcome. I've seen
Sure.
with the neighbours. So
Sure.
yeah, brilliant in that respect.
That's a
great.
really
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
That's what you and Glenn were for me.
Thank you.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting the way you saw yourself and the way Glenn and I saw you, two different things. But I think you're seeing it now. But as Glenn was saying about his neighbor, sometimes it takes another person from the outside looking at you to say, hey, this way that you see yourself, it's horseshit. Yeah,
Yeah.
to use Glenn's word. You are good enough. And when you hear that, the outside opinions, instead of them being negative about you, they're positive. And if you can take that on board, then that can help you discover that you are good enough. It can help you get through that.
Yeah.
Those positive messages can be so transforming.
Yes. Yeah. I think the trick can be not getting stuck on needing it from other people. It's
Right.
great when somebody can have somebody transform their idea of who they are, the vision or image of who they are, really like almost like holding up a mirror, like saying, no, this is who you are. It's not this warped version of yourself
Right. Right.
that you think you are. But then taking it upon yourself to see it yourself, not just see yourself through other people. I think it's really, really good
Yeah.
to see ourselves as God
Mhm.
sees us. Okay, next
Yeah.
questions
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
are. Oh, is there a delay?
No, you're good.
Okay. Are all secrets bad? Are all walls bad? Let's start with that one because the next one's good by itself.
I would say that all secrets are bad, but then Glenn gave his example, and I thought in that case, I think there are cases in which secrets aren't bad.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, for me, I don't want to keep any secrets, even if the secret is embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's just my personal choice. Um, the example Glenn used in that case, I would appreciate the mother for wanting to protect their son or daughter in that case,
Yeah.
protecting their feelings. So you could look at that scenario and say that the secret is a good secret.
Yeah.
So on that first part, I'm kind of in the middle on that. For
Yeah.
me, I can decide for me, but I can't decide for other people whether all secrets are bad.
Yeah.
Are all walls bad? No, in a way, no. I mean, I think the walls. There should be walls, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. There should be walls, but I like where you get to the point where you talk about, do your walls have a door in them? I think, and we'll get to that, and I'll talk more about it. But there should be access, in my opinion. There should be. The walls are fine; they can be good, but there should be a way for people to get in and for you to get out.
Yeah.
If you're walled in other words, if you've created walls and you're walled in, you have no access out, and no one can get in. I don't think that's ever good.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, that's my thought on that.
I'm going to say a hearty ditto on that one.
No, ditto.
What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Bad's a good word for it.
Mhm.
It's not, I mean, for me, I don't like secrets at all, but
Right.
I certainly wouldn't suggest to another person that there's any secret that they have is bad. That would be extremely judgmental. With walls, a wall's bad. That's really difficult to answer. So just the word bad doesn't sit too well with me. So
Sure.
I'm really in a limbo situation, a bit like you, Crips, with that one. I
Yeah.
need to think more on it.
This second part.
Yeah, the second part's good.
Are all walls bad? Was he answering that? Are all secrets bad or all walls bad? Maybe he's answering both like that.
Yeah, he answered both.
Okay, sorry.
But
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So can walls come down if secrets are not disclosed? This is such a good question. I'd actually like Glenn to go first on this one because
All right,
this kind of
good.
blows my mind.
I like this.
yeah, sure. Well, I thought it was such a good question. I went and I spoke to Sandra before the show about it. Said, "What do you think?" And took her a few minutes to think about it. She said, "That's a tough question," but that her conclusion was, and I do agree with it, is that they can't. I think it's. I just can't see how a wall can come down if there's something behind it.
Mm.
I mean, because if they do come down, then the secret is exposed. It's like you said with the Berlin Wall, Jan. If there's a bicycle lying on the ground and you pull the wall down, you can't hide it. It's going to be still there, isn't it?
Yep. It's a really good explanation.
So I don't think so.
What about you, Crips?
I would agree.
Thank
with
you.
Glenn. The walls come down. Can the walls come down if secrets are not disclosed? I don't think so. But if they weren't disclosed, I agree with what he and Sandra discussed. If you don't disclose a secret and you take, for whatever reason, you take the walls down, the secret's going to be exposed anyway. And I thought the example of the bicycle is a good one.
Yeah.
So either way, no, it's no longer a secret anymore then if the walls come down. I will add that I feel like disclosing secrets does help break down the walls, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Oh yeah.
Sharing the secret and some of that wall just softens a bit.
Yeah.
To use Jalen's example, let's say it's made out of iron, and you expose the secrets behind it, and then it becomes stone or brick, and then you expose more secrets, and it becomes plastic, or finally straw, until there's no more wall anymore,
Yeah.
until you're able to be free of that. I think that's a great one. Great question.
So what about people that let you in that still have secrets? I guess it would be the walls are still partially up,
Yeah.
but not all the way down.
Yeah. So I see that as okay. So if you let someone in, but you're keeping a secret, then you've got a room where the secret is placed, and that part remains walled off. It's kind of like putting a velvet rope in front of a antique. I'm not thinking of the right word, but when you go into those old homes from the 1800s or whatever that someone lived, like President Polk lived. We had his birthplace close to us, and I'll never forget going there on school trips. And you could walk around and look at it, but they had like the kitchen, for instance. You could look at the kitchen, but
Mhm.
you can't get past the velvet rope. It's kind of like that. It's like uh, pertaining to secrets, you're letting someone in, but they only have access to certain areas.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you. That's my thought on that one.
Let's see.
I want to mention this if you're not before we move on to the next question,
Yeah.
because this is you say in the write up, in regards to relationships, secrets are connection killers.
Yep.
And it's not in the form of a question; it's more of a statement. But oh my gosh, that's a big one. I agree with that 100%.
I do too.
Secrets kill connections. How can you truly connect to someone if they've got a secret or you've got a secret that's not being shared?
Yeah.
Again, it's a simmering, boiling time bomb waiting to explode. And if you're trying to be fully open to another person and let them in every part of your life, you've got that secret that's walled off. It kills the connection. It stops you from having a full connection with that person. So I just really thought that was a brilliant statement, Jen.
Thank you.
Secrets are connection killers. I would agree. That's all.
I would agree as well. And I agree with them sitting and festering and eroding the connection. It's, gosh, yeah, we've all seen this in different ways.
You said eroding at the very fabric of the connection between two people. The longer we wait to tell them, the harder it is to share. I agree 100% on that.
Just weighs you down.
Mm-hmm. And what's the point?
And yeah, and the other person can usually tell too, you know?
Yeah.
It's because when you get to know somebody, you can just kind of sense that something's off.
Yes, especially the longer you know a person. Yes, you
Yeah.
tell that something's off,
And when it's not being talked about, it's an elephant in the room.
right, right, and then you're forced to do the I wonder what's going on with them, and thinking that there may be something that they're not sharing, and so
And
then you
yeah.
feel like the person doesn't totally trust you. Otherwise, they would share whatever that secret is.
Yeah.
So it causes distrust as well. Not just the connection, but it can cause a lot of other negative things as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is an important point before we get to the next question, that keeping secrets is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's so exhausting. I mean, one facet of that is being afraid they're going to find out from somebody else, if it's that kind of
Yeah.
a secret that more than just you know about it.
Hmm.
If you are the only one that knows about it, that's a lonely road,
Oh yeah.
to be carrying that weight alone. Maybe it seems like it's better because nobody else knows, and then nobody else will slip up and let your secret out, but
Yeah.
there's still other kinds of weights that you're carrying when it's just you.
Sure.
You want to say anything about that?
I do. Yeah. That's a good one. So Yeah, you've experienced something even today, and maybe not necessarily secret, but something that before it would have been difficult to share, and then when you shared it, all that exhaustion just slipped away.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time not falling asleep right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So, yeah,
I don't
we're not gonna run long tonight
Yeah,
for that reason, but I'll just finish up by saying they are exhausting.
yeah,
Um, you have a lot more relief and a lot more freedom in relationships and just in your own life by not keeping secrets, by
yeah,
just sharing it if there is a secret, by sharing it and getting it out. I mean, there's some terms out there that seem cliche, but they're terms for a reason. Like I've got to get this off my chest.
yeah,
The implication is that it's a heaviness that you carry
yeah,
around with you, and the minute you share it, then it's like, oh, feel tons better. That's because they're heavy and they're exhausting and they're difficult to carry. So
yeah.
I would agree with that. I'm glad you stopped there because that's a good point. They are
And
exhausting.
I don't mind sharing with our friends here what's been going on with me.
Okay,
Maybe they
great.
can relate. I have been carrying a lifetime of anger, and not just anger, rage. And part of the rage is it building up year after year since my childhood. I've been very, very angry at my dad. Um, his way of disciplining me was more acceptable back then
Hmm.
than it is these days. But the one kicker that I wasn't able to fully pinpoint until more currently is that he never, I would get spanked, I'd get sent to my room, I'd be bawling my eyes out in the dark alone. And he never followed up and had a conversation with me after disciplining me where he
Right,
assured me of his love. It was always just left open, loose ends,
right,
just never. I always felt like my dad and I weren't okay. And that was really rough for me as a little kid, being an only daughter, and wanting to be close to my dad and wanting to be accepted by my dad or loved
yeah,
by my dad.
yeah,
So I was left with these thoughts in my head of I'm not good enough. I'm a
yeah.
screw up. I'm a bad kid. I'm a bad daughter. I'm the reason he's always angry.
Sure.
I'm alone. No one will come to me. I just was always waiting for like my mom to even come to me in my room or my dad, and neither of them
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
So it shaped who I believed I was. And
Hmm.
and the sucky thing was I'd get up the next day and it was like everything was back to normal, but I wasn't okay.
Right.
I didn't think my dad and I were okay, but here he was acting normal and he wasn't angry anymore.
Sure.
But I'm sitting here over like what the heck is going on? And then it was almost like I had to pretend I was okay because everybody else is acting okay.
Yeah.
So it's just this cycle, this lifetime cycle weighing on me, just day after day, and showing emotions, even anger. Even though my dad was freely expressing anger when we were younger, I just never got the sense from my parents or family that it was okay to have feelings,
Right.
and I felt like they felt that I was too sensitive or too emotional, which made me censor myself even more.
Yeah.
So I became this kind, happy, always smiling kid, which isn't necessarily all that bad. But
Right.
when you're feeling other feelings and you don't feel like you're safe or it's acceptable to feel other stuff than happiness, you are censoring yourself. You are putting things behind a wall
Exactly.
and not being fully yourself.
Yeah.
So this has been building for 40 years.
Hmm.
And the past 2 weeks, I have had the most excruciating back pain.
Hmm.
And it's funny, we went to the chiropractor yesterday, and my chiropractor, she was like, I told her when I walked in, she's amazing, our Dr. Stewart, the chiropractor. And I told her, I said, I've been thinking it's our mattress. It's not the mattress. It's definitely my back. And I told her, I said, I've been suppressing anger and rage. I'm so angry. And that's even a huge miracle that I can even share that with somebody and even share it with you guys,
Yeah.
because for my life, I have been terrified of letting people know that I'm angry. It just
Yeah.
was such an unacceptable, ugly emotion to me because of my dad.
Right.
But when she checked out my back, she adjusted my T5 and she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, let me go check something out."
This is
And
cool.
some people may not believe in this particular thing, but there was some doctor that was connecting your vertebrae with different emotions.
Hmm.
So if you were having issues with specific vertebrae, it was
Yep.
connected to certain emotions. And the T5 is suppressed emotions and
Yep.
rage.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. Anyway, so all of this to be said, Jason and I had a 2.5 hour long conversation with my mom and dad this afternoon. And it took so much courage for me to come to the table with my parents and share with my dad specifically, a little bit with my mom, but how angry I am.
Yeah.
And the things that have happened, some of them in the past couple months, but things going back to my childhood that I just and underneath the anger is hurt. It's a very
Yep.
deep, deep well of hurt.
Yep.
And luckily, my dad was very validating and listened, and we just ended up having a really, really good conversation about it. And the weight that comes off when that's done is huge. And I was terrified. I mean, like even talking about it with you guys now, I get shaky again.
Mm.
It was really, really hard for me to do and very scary. And I'm telling you, the main reason is rejection. I was so afraid that he wasn't going to agree or understand or validate my feelings or say you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, or that didn't happen or whatever. But yeah, it was just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That was a tough thing for you to go through that, and I'm glad that his reaction was what it was, because to have the courage to do that, a lot of people don't even want to go that far. And then if they do, to have the other person validate and react in a positive way, that oftentimes doesn't happen either.
Yeah.
So that's a tough place to be in. But you feel better from what you've said. You feel better having gotten rid of that stuff rather than
Yep.
keeping it all bottled in. So that's a good thing.
And and this I think is such a good goal and key for any relationship, whether it's a friendship, parent, child, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. I told my dad in the conversation, my goal from here forward is that if you say something or do something or don't do something that upsets me, I'm going to come straight to you right away and talk to you about it because there were things that I assumed meant certain things, things that he had done and said, and he didn't.
Mhm.
And this is the kicker, if I were a dude, I'd feel kicked in the nuts. Like, it's just like, um, to spend all of this time and energy on being angry and upset underneath that anger when a conversation could have happened, a while ago, and this could have been tied up. And I'm not, just getting stuck into a place where I'm beating myself up and
No.
sitting in regret. I'm so glad this conversation happened and that we can move forward from here. But it is, you have to look at it like, oh my gosh, all this energy and emotion and time and, the past 2 weeks barely sleeping because my back's been killing me, like
Yeah.
all of these things when really and truly communication, sharing the secret, and really and truly my anger has been my secret, even from my parents.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of you that could probably relate to. It is very weird to be angry at your parents. It's almost like, at least for me, it's almost like this. There's like some rule that you can't be mad at your parents. Like
Yeah.
it's just against the rules. They can be mad at you because you're the kid, but when it
Yeah.
goes the other way, it's just weird and very uncomfortable for me, at least.
Sure.
So I've had to come to terms and realize they're people and I have a relationship with them and my feelings matter.
Yeah.
And whether they're my parents or not, if I'm angry, I'm angry and I need to validate myself,
Yeah.
and my own feelings. Because doing the opposite is what's been causing me so much pain, emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
So,
On that point, before we move forward, yeah, I think we're conditioned not to get mad, angry at our parents, and because it's they're, as you said, they're the parent, we're the child, so it seems okay for them to get angry. But what happens when we become adults? I think we're still conditioned, though, even though we're adults and we're carrying on our own lives, to be angry with our parents. I think it's more difficult than any other relationship. That's just my opinion, Because when you marry someone, you don't have all the history. You don't have all. They're not your parent. They're a peer. So if you're angry with them, it's, in my opinion, it's less difficult to share that with a peer or with someone you're in a love relationship with. Where with your parents, I just think it is generally more difficult. I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We on to the next.
Sure. Unless Glenn has anything he wants to say about this last one.
I do.
There you go.
Jen,
Yeah.
I think a lot of lessons in what you said for all of us. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for helping me get there, dude.
Now, send you the account.
Yes, send me the bill. I know it's
No
low.
Send me the bill.
Yeah. Now I've got to just address something Stephanie said, which I thought was quite relevant to that question. I'll read it. Well, you can be so honest and open and learn. Don't ever be that open again, because it can be thrown up in your face to hurt you. Well, my comment is not related to someone who would come and belt the living daylights out of you. I'm talking about emotional hurt. Now, I'm one that I think this is a double-edged sword, because I think if you are open and honest and someone throws it up in your face, they're declaring who they are right there and then. You know then who they are, and you can say, "You're not going to hurt me, and I'm out of here."
Yeah.
So is there a value in that integrity and being honest, in that maybe this person could be like this and holding on to this for a year, 2 years, but you know right now, be honest, know where you stand, make a choice. You're going to cop it, or you're going to do something about it.
Yep.
There we go. Thank you.
And I think it's great to have more information on other people, you know, whether they're safe or not, when you declare yourself, as you would say, Glenn, and you put your stuff on the table and share, whether it's a secret or, you know, breaking down the walls and sharing what's behind them.
Yeah.
Then in the way people react, it's like you said, them declaring themselves, and are they for you or against you? Are they with you or without you? Are they supporting you or gonna try to kill you?
Right.
You know, are they safe or not? And that's more information for you to be able to choose if they're worth having in your life or not.
Absolutely. Good point. That's excellent.
Which question were we on? I lost track.
We did the exhausting. We did why in the world why would you want to take them down? I think is where we're at.
Yeah.
That's because I think that's a question worth answering. Let's not. Okay, so we did the exhausting part. In our minds and our hearts, if walls are meant to protect us, why in the world would we want to take them down? I'll go first if you don't mind, babe.
Yeah, please.
We wouldn't. If they're meant to protect us, your knee-jerk reaction is, oh my gosh, I've got to keep those walls up. They're for your protection. Again, I'm talking really loud. Let me take it down a notch.
You're fine.
In terms of my own experience, again, I'll use the rejection as an example. So I hadn't even experienced much rejection, at least in terms of a love relationship. There've been some girlfriends or whatever that, you know, you like someone and you know, you write them a note or whatever. Do you like me? Circle the box or check the box, and then they check no, you know, or even worse, you know, they might snicker behind your back and tell other people he sent me a note. You know, that's it may seem big at the time, but that is a low level rejection. But because of those little things that happened when I was younger, you know, I just avoided it for a long time. And so you build up walls then to protect yourself, to keep you from whatever emotion it is that you're trying not to experience, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, tearing the walls down would seem like total destruction.
Yeah.
It would seem like that.
Or just plain stupid.
Right. And so you avoid lots of good things in life because you're afraid. Fear is the culprit here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
The walls protect us, but aren't you locked in behind your walls and your roommate is fear?
Yeah, is that freedom? Is that
Yeah,
free?
it doesn't feel free to me.
No.
Is a shut-in free? Even if a shut-in, agoraphobic, has internet and they have someone bring their groceries, some of those things might seem great. Oh, I would love it to be in my house, never have to leave, and someone just brings me everything. But see, their roommate is fear. They're afraid to even go out on the front porch and pick up the
Yep.
paper. That's not freedom. They're in a prison of their own making. And when I say that, some of them, they didn't maybe create the issue that they have.
Yeah.
Things were done to them that caused that. But see, they're in charge of whether they continue in that or not.
Mhm.
Agoraphobia is a perfect example that a lot of times they use the form of psychology, and I've mentioned to you, and the name's not come, immersion, where they start a little bit at a time. Okay, just take 2 steps out of the house today, and then tomorrow you'll take 3 steps out. Immersion, facing it. It ends up being however it was created. It may be someone else that's done it, but they have to be the ones to face it. The people that caused the issue for them, that created the trauma, may not be around anymore. But it must be incredibly fearful for them to do that.
Yeah.
Their walls protect them, and that's a perfect example. We're talking metaphorically and literally in this particular scenario of an agoraphobic. But when they are able to do that and take a chance, then that fear goes away, and then the roommate fear is no longer a factor, and they are truly free. But I did see a movie about an agoraphobic that they couldn't go outside, and then what happened was these people decided to break in, so she thought she was safe, and now she's not safe because these robbers are coming in, and so it's an illusion anyway. You feel safe in there with your fear, but someone can still break in, so you're not really safe anyway.
Yeah.
So metaphorically, I think that's true about walls too. The walls may seem to protect you, but in the end, you're just isolating yourself, and you're making a prison. You're allowing yourself to remain in a prison where you're not totally free.
So you think you're safe, but you're not free.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I went on long enough about that.
I thought it was good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Let's see.
I need constant validation.
External validation.
That's right.
Let's see. Does your wall have a door? Letting in people you trust in, or is there no door at all?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, and I
Yeah.
was looking forward to getting to this point. Yeah, I think some people don't have a door. I think that they've isolated themselves so much, and there's a moat, and there's, as you mentioned, there's guards up on the ramparts at the top, and there's machine guns, and there's dogs. I mean, I'm just presenting a picture of like a compound that you've created for yourself, and there's no door. There's no drawbridge. There's no entryway. There's no nothing, because you're not letting anyone in. I think there are some people out there that are like that, and then still other people. There may be one door. There's not a bunch of doors. There's only one, and that door is heavily guarded and protected and locked, and it's very difficult to penetrate. I like the idea, and I hope that I'm this type of person now, where there is a door, and it's open. The door is open, so it allows people in. And I like the way Glenn looks at it. I really do. The idea of, if the person's energy is wrong, then you just don't let them in. The door's open, so anybody can come up to the door and talk. But you feel their energy out or a little bit, and get to know them. And if it doesn't feel right, then you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, no access for you."
Yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah. So my answer to that is mine does have a door. And fortunately, where I'm at in my life now, the door is open. It's unlocked. It's open to people. Um, but I hope I can get to the point where there's no door anymore. That'd be great. To just or not even have walls.
I was like, wait a minute, what happened to the door?
Yeah, the door's gone if there's no walls.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, going backwards here.
there you go.
Uh, I think I have walls still that I'm working on.
Sure.
There's definitely a door. There's not as many locks, but it still does close. I'm just more open to opening it. That's me.
Yeah.
What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, well, I'd say, but of the few people that I'm close to, there are no walls. And I don't think I could get really close to someone if there was a wall up at all. So I'd
Yeah.
say that's one group. We're just small in number. For the rest, I'd say if there was a wall, if you look at it like that, but I'd say definitely there's always a door and it's unlocked. I mean, it basically is play it how you see it,
Yeah.
and but never it's unavailable. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Things can change. People change. We've all changed ourselves. So I think we have to make that allowance for others as well. So yeah, if it's open and people come to it, they knock, you open it, and you converse. And if it feels right or whatever criteria you use, you invite them in. Simple.
I like it.
Sure. That's good. Good stuff.
What are some benefits, Jason, of removing walls in regards to yourself?
What a great question. The benefits are first, personal freedom. The other thing is that I'm opening myself up to new experiences with different types of people. Um, I'm becoming by removing walls. I'm becoming a person that is open, and I want to experience relationships with different people. And I believe with walls up, that makes it awfully difficult. Um, so freedom is the first thing. Experiences, opening me up to new experiences is another thing. Not being so guarded and secretive, not needing that, I think is beneficial.
Yeah.
Those are the first things that pop into my head about that one.
Cool. I like that.
Thank you.
I think for me, it's being myself. Um, with what I'm dealing with shoving emotions that I think are unacceptable behind a wall. Getting rid of the walls is just being fully integrated
Yeah,
into who I am, and just having that
yeah,
freedom to be myself.
sure.
What about you, Glenn?
I'd like to relate this one in terms of seeing the world. I think if you've done what Son and I've done, you realise that when you're in certain situations, you just can't have the luxury of any kind of walls. If you sometimes need a lot of help, and you've got walls up, you're not going to get it.
Right.
So I think
That's a good
the
point.
benefits are not heaving your guts out for the next week. Or you do get in situations where I think allowing you to take the walls down enables you to communicate better, and it enables you just to ask rather than necessarily receive. I know that might sound a bit airy-fairy, but
No, I think it sounds great.
you can't afford walls in certain situations. You just can't. You can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I won't go into it, but yeah, there are situations you find yourself in, and that if you think you have the luxury of having a wall, you're gonna have to forget it mighty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but
too
travel's
about
good.
when I think about walls too, I think about our desire as people to be known,
Yeah.
to be fully known. And when you have walls up, how is that possible? How is it possible for somebody, or even secrets? How is it possible for someone to fully know you and then fully accept you if you have walls up and you have secrets?
Good point.
Then the very thing that you want the most, you can't have.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Let's see. You want to just read this last paragraph and you can
Absolutely.
respond? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I believe our truth lies behind these secrets and behind these walls. And if we are wanting to be accepted, don't we want to be accepted with all of our cards on the table? What have we got to lose? We either lose the person we tell the secret to, or keep it hidden and lose a part of your own truth behind another wall.
Beautiful. I'll address the question that's in there. The whole thing is more of a statement, but there's a question there. Cards on the table. We've discussed this before, and the coming to the table, that part from Glenn, the authenticity. I have been working on that in me for a long time, but I was very impressed that Glenn agreed with that when we met and had discussions about it. And I was also very impressed with his depiction and his word picture of in relationships, not only being authentic, but sitting down at the table and you work it out. You lay all your I don't think he used the term lay all your cards on the table, but that does apply here. So it's getting it all out, sitting at the table, and then you don't get up until it's done. And then when you're done, you move away from the table, and that particular issue doesn't get brought up again. It ends right there. I love that concept. And the question is, don't we want to be accepted with all our cards on the table? For me, yes. I do want to be accepted, and I want to, as difficult as it may be, like it was for you today, Jen, to invite your parents to the table. As hard as that was, when you got up, when everybody came and they sat down and they listened, and that there's back and forth, there's a dialogue. When everybody got up, the feeling is so amazing. And then you never have to go back and talk about those same things again. You give the other person the opportunity to listen to you and to move forward, and they give you the same opportunity. So
Yeah.
I love this part. Yes, I want to be accepted with all our cards on the table. That is very important to me. What have we got to lose? Absolutely everything. To me, you lose everything if you don't do that. If you're going to isolate and keep your walls up, and your roommate is your own fear. Fear is not a good roommate. I can tell you that. The anxiety that
No.
comes from having fear as a roommate is not pleasurable. So you have everything to lose, and so I'm kind of being opposite here. What you mean by it is there's nothing to lose, and I would agree. What have you got to lose? Nothing and everything. I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's really well said.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can follow that. Yeah, what have you got to lose? Gosh, we've talked about this so many times about the fear of losing somebody when you're just putting all your cards on the table. If that person sees all your cards and doesn't want to love you or be with you or be your friend or be your family, it's why would you even want to be around them?
Yeah.
Why would you want them in your life? And yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, and as painful as rejection is, I do realize now in this part of life that I would rather know the truth than be sitting somewhere wondering. That whole ruminating thing where you're just wondering and you're not quite sure.
Yeah.
It's another exhausting place to be.
Yeah. Ruminating is,
Maddening.
since you brought that up, ruminating is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're trying to go to sleep and your mind's working, or in your case, sometimes waking up in the middle of the night and having to put notes on your phone and things like that when you really just want to be asleep. And once your mind gets going, it's hard to shut it off again.
So much.
But if you deal with the issue, then that doesn't happen. You can sleep straight through the night and not wake up and ruminate about anything except, oh my gosh, I got to go back to sleep.
Oh my gosh, my sleep's so good.
Yeah, my sleep is awesome.
I'm gonna go back to it.
That's right.
What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, I've got two things on this one. I know when Sandra and I got together, we put all our stuff on the table, and some of it was pretty hairy. And but we just agreed that everything that each of us had done in the past was necessary to bring us to this moment.
Yes.
So with that attitude, nothing that's gone on in the past is used for condemnation or judgment or ridicule. It's
it's
just
so
part of the process, part of the journey, etc. So therefore, it goes no further. You just smile about it and say, well, that's how it is. Part two is just transposing that into decision making and putting cards on the table. And I know this is what we did from day one, is that each of us had the when decisions are to be made, say what colour to paint. I think I might have said it before, but it's relevant. She said, I want to have it red, and I said, no, I want yellow. We would each of us has the power of veto on any decision, and if we use that veto in that moment, we have to sit down, and if it takes 3 months to work it out, it takes as long as it takes. But the opposite of that is, if you do not declare yourself in that moment, you shut up in future. You can't be passive aggressive down the line, and so I didn't really like that. So we've never had an issue with decision making, because we take, as I said, if it takes 3 months, 6 months, a month, a day, tomorrow, it will be worked out until we reach agreement. So you never have any arguments, because it's just declared on the table. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so easy. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome.
Good.
All right. That was the last of it. What did you guys think?
I thought it was great. I thought you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
You
I love
really
our
did.
chat. I like how they participate.
Yeah. Chat is awesome. I saw a couple things that I'll mention. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be finishing a little bit early tonight, guys. So that's, I hope that's okay with everyone. Stephanie had said, we're talking about doors and stuff. Stephanie was answering, and she said, door, plenty of locks though. So she's saying she has a door, but there's plenty of locks. That's great.
And then said no soliciting.
That's right. Jalen said no soliciting. I thought that was great.
I think she spelled it right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my buddy John Dons, this is more on the funny side, but he says, in the spirit of conversation, I have to admit, spirit of this conversation, I have to admit something to Jason. I never liked Burger King.
Is that his secret? Did he eat at Burger King with you?
Yeah. And Jen, you know this, but because my parents were so restrictive of my diet, then when I was able to drive, so I met Rob or John. He's calling himself John, so I'll call him John, but I know him from the other name. That's okay. So I met him, I was probably 17, maybe 16, somewhere in there. I don't know, maybe Rob remembers more than I do what age it was. But that was when 16, got my driver's license, and so I was going out and trying all the fast food places that I was not allowed to eat. John didn't like Burger King. He didn't like it. I liked it because they had the junior bacon cheeseburgers, and that's what I liked. It's really the only thing I liked from there. And then so I would want to go and get those, and he liked McDonald's. So we had all these arguments about which place was better,
That's
McDonald's
hilarious.
or Burger King.
I liked their chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah, it was a little greasy, but the Burger King chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And their cinnamonies.
I will say, I will say this, that as far as fries are concerned, they're both garbage, but McDonald's fries are far better, in my opinion, than Burger King fries. They're just a bunch of garbage. But
Yeah.
Burger King had onion rings, and no other place at the time had onion rings. So if you're going to get them, they're not very good, but you can get them
Yeah.
anyway.
Now I'm
That's all I
hungry.
have. That's all I have to say. Well, we have some excellent meatloaf that you made. It was very, very good.
Delicious.
So you
And
can
tuna.
have some meatloaf. Oh, you're gonna make tuna. Did you already make it?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know you already made it.
Ha.
Well, have something to have for a snack tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a good topic.
it was.
It's definitely one to be introspective on, I think. It also can be scary. It can be a scary topic. Like, I don't want to
Sure.
talk about my walls. I don't want to talk about my secrets. Shut up.
Yeah.
No.
Who wants to at first look? Who wants to talk about secrets? I mean, the secrets are there for a reason. So I would understand someone not wanting to discuss them, but we did discuss them, and I thought you did an excellent job with the write up, and an excellent job as well, asking the questions and reading it, and it was very, very good for me to kind of sit back and let someone else do it for a change, and I thought it worked very well.
Yeah.
I think we'll do it that way
Stuff.
from now on.
What? Glenn's up next week.
Yeah.
Noisy Glenzo.
Noisy Glenzo, host with the
Look,
I liked Jay.
so sorry about the chair. So sorry about the typing. If my damn laptop would work properly, I wouldn't have to have this issue.
Your cute accent
It's
makes up
just
for it a little
outliving
bit.
it. Yeah.
outliving its usefulness. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
In
right.
other
Well,
words,
that's it.
a bucket of beep.
That sounds
That's
delicious.
for Janet.
There you go. Yeah. Before
No,
we go,
it's not fried.
I'll say a quick hello to the couple people that came in a little bit later. Janet, hello, and John Don's hello. And I saw Annette Sandrock here earlier. I saw her come in, and also More Than a Flame came in. I don't see too many comments from him, but I know he popped in. So if you're still listening, thank you for coming by.
Yes.
And as usual, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and listening. And I wanted to read this earlier in reference to the chair. Liam said, sounds like a bad ABBA musical, to be honest.
Oh, the chair? No, I think he was talking about Glenn's are some secrets good or bad? And he was saying if your mom came up to you and said your dad's not your dad, it could be one of three husbands.
Yeah.
That's the storyline from Mamma Mia.
Yeah. I realize that, but for me, it's the chair.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, I didn't mean to invalidate your point of view.
No, you can have your own point of view. That's fine. Or I can have one that's not right, but it's my point of view because of the squeaky chair.
So true. So true. Do you think ABBA is annoying music?
No, but an ABBA musical, that is a little annoying to me.
Oh no, have you seen it?
No, I would not subject myself to that. No.
Okay, you're missing out. We'll talk later.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You could probably get me to watch it. Let's put it that way.
I probably could.
What I won't watch is The Good Wife or Sex in the City or
Okay.
Sex with the City or
Sex in
whatever.
The City. Yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Whatever it is. All right, we're gonna close it down, guys. Again, thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for joining the chat. If you're listening to the playback, thank you for taking the time to click play and listen to our broadcast. And again, if you have any suggestions, comments, criticisms, whatever, positive or negative for the broadcast, any topics you would like to hear us discuss, you can always make the comments in the chat, but it's we don't always see them, especially for me. So the best way to do it is to send an email, and you can do that by emailing me at truestorylive.crips@gmail.com. And just leave me your suggestions, or just anything, really, anything. What we're really looking for, though, also is topics. And if you're enjoying the topics that we're picking, then great. Go ahead and let us know that. Of course, by you showing up, the people that actually come and talk in the chat, you're telling us that you enjoy the topics. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You could spend your Sunday nights a completely different way and not be here. I know other people, like some people have popped in and they're at work or they're on the other side of the country and it's late for them, and so they just wait and listen. So I completely understand that. But we definitely appreciate everyone, both those that come and join in the chat and enjoy those conversations, and also those that listen to the playback. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know yet what the topic will be next week, but we're going to discuss that. We'll definitely have something for you for next Sunday. And that's it for us. So we'll start with Glenn first. Say good night to the peoples, Glenn.
Good night, peoples, as I type away, trying to tell Janet. Janet's gone into the memory banks and just listed on my spreadsheet of people to have retribution with. Thank you.
Who's next?
Sorry, Jen. I didn't hear what Glenn said. So, all right, go ahead, Jen. Say goodbye to the people.
All right. Good night, people. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, guys, and chatting about walls and secrets and sharing your point of view in the chat box. We hope you guys have an awesome and blessed Sunday night and an awesome Monday. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. Sleep well.
Yep. As for me, I will say good night. And as Jen said, hope everyone has a great week. And thank you again for joining us for this broadcast. And thank you, Jen, for doing the write-up and also for reading the write-up and for asking the questions. That was very nice.
Nice little break for you.
And yeah, it was a nice little break. I'll be back to my normal duties next week, I'm sure. But if for some reason I wasn't able to do it, now you know that you can do it. You can absolutely handle it if you needed to. If you wanted to continue.
Yeah.
If something happened. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you again for listening. We'll be back again next week. Everyone have a great week. And as always, take care of yourselves. And until then, till next week, good night and God bless.